So evening everybody, welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live coming to you on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. We've got a great ride for you today. Now we do have a stripped down show because what was going to be a pretty mad week with multiple lastminute.com gigs being piled into the schedule has turned into an even madder one, and as some people will know, our regular Women's Wednesdays on the Donny Chaingang Yellow Beacon, the boss Emma has had a racing crash on Sunday and hit the floor pretty hard, and as such it meant that things like emails weren't written because there was a lot of time spent in A&E. Fortunately on the road to recovery, but it's going to be quite a while before we see Emma back on the bike. We expect in about 10 days before riding again, and the expectation is probably a little bit longer before actually out on the real road. So I expect to see some Chaingang appearances on the main Chaingang from Emma. However, it does mean that I am multitasking even more than normal, which means that no graphics tonight in terms of a map, no graphics in terms of a hill. I hope you've all done your homework, because if you haven't, you're not going to get much help from me on the screen in terms of graphics. One man who definitely knows exactly where he's heading is our yellow beacon. It is Russ, and I'm hoping that we are going to be able to get Russ live on the phone if we haven't stripped out too much technology. So let's see if we can get him. Russ, how are you doing?
Hey up.
Now then, so it is the man with the pain caving construction, and are you having to pause that, I understand?
We're just having a break and tired out, mate.
I'm not surprised. It's being a professional bike rider is honestly much easier than building pain caves. It must be.
Yeah, but no, I just heard you say that I know where I'm going. I ain't got a clue. Somebody's just said how many laps to do, and I'm like, I forgot. So I've got a brain freeze going on. I think it's is it 3 laps?
Well, 39k plus the end. Yeah, it should be 3 laps to then off up the hill. But you know what? I think we will. I quite like the old unknown distance that we used to race on the track, on the grass track. I thought that was a great race that you never knew where it was. So I'm quite liking the idea. I mean, a bit like the go being quite random, and at your whim, I quite like the idea that nobody actually has a clue where we're going. So it sounds good to me.
You should know where we're going. We're going to the top of the hill, and that's where we're finishing. And that's all you need to know.
It is pretty much. It is that simple. Heading for the top of the hill, wait for the go. It's not like you need to work out where you're going. It's going to steer you there anyway. So it's just about putting in that performance and putting in that ride. And it is a long finish to the hill, isn't it? It's one of those climbs that's got a couple of kickers in the middle, but it just seems to go on for quite a long time when you're riding it.
It goes on too long, to be honest. And yeah, I might still be on the climb when them clowns kick off playing football.
Well, you know, what was it Guy Martin said? I've nothing against football, but I don't see why I should lose 2 hours of my life watching 22 millionaires chase a pig's bladder around a bit of grass. He maybe has a point, but let's see. I think if you get the timing right, you never know. You might be able to simultaneously do both if you are into your football. I know some people are. Me, I'm going to be doing some more prep work, and of course nursing the boss back and getting more ice packs frozen, I think, is the plan. So hopefully it's going to be nice and smooth. You've got about 15 seconds, Russ. I hope you're all ready to go.
Yeah, I was just pedalling backwards. I don't know what for.
Yeah, better get going for us, mate. 6 seconds and counting. So as Russ heads off, cheers, mate. Catch you in a mo.
Cheers, mate. Catch you in a bit.
And no sooner said than done, and the go has gone, and as per normal, leaving our poor little avatar behind, which means let's jump in with Russ tonight. Russ is our yellow beacon, and it looks like Russ is able to move without pedaling. This is quite a skill. So it looks like Russ with no pedaling at the moment. The Gremlin's in with him. Let's jump in with our red beacon, because the red beacon hopefully is going to be pedaling. So we're in there now. If you haven't seen before, really easy. The format of the Donny Chaingang has not changed. It won't change. It's really easy. We start off with a group ride. The group aim on being stuck together and getting all close together. The ride to get everybody round as fast as possible, initially in a group. When we get to a set point, you round about the half ride distance, what you will find is that people will then understand there's a go, go, go. And at that point, when the go, go, go happens, that is when there is no holds bar. In the meantime, it is all down to us to call the shots and to shout the pace, whether that's 1 watt per kilo, 2 watts per kilo, 20 watts per kilo, whatever Russ wants to call. He's in charge of the pace and how fast the ride goes. Now, our red beacon that we are focused on at the moment, this is Neil Moore. Neil of the Stellaton, also known for their copious consumption of water bottles. If you want to join them in their, you've seen all the ball pools that you have for kids and stuff like that, and the jump parks with foaming. Well, the Stellaton apparently are using the water bottles now. They've got so many Stellaton water bottles as a ball pool. So our red beacon from the Stellaton, Neil, is going to be sweeping at the back, bringing all that group together, helping people get back on again. So as the riders do that, this group will come together. They will ride around the circuit. Once that go-go goes, it is then no holds barred, and it is all about giving it some beans up to the top of the climb, and we'll be seeing who gets there first. Now, as you can see, there are plenty of people just getting their tech sorted out on the roll in here. We're just rolling in with the gang, and it looks like the front of the group just currently disappearing off down the road, so it looks like Russ is going to be busy getting the tech sorted and sending the messages out. And as Russ says, time to get that blob rolling back together again. So let's dive in with the ride as they head out and around the roads of Innsbruck for the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. So welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. We have our riders underway and the ride well stretched out. I think we've got about 75 riders tonight joining the Donny Chaingang, and the aim is for the riders to regroup, to get together in one pack. The top right hand side of your screen, you can see at the moment big block of riders at the front, a couple of riders in between, and the group at the back. And looks like a number of riders just having a few tech issues. Shelley Charles having issues. Carl Johnson at the moment just trying to get back up to pace after some tech issues. It may well be that he's going to jump out and jump back in again. Now our red beacon and the gang from the Stellaton, Rich Orrell in here. Looks like Kuslug's in here, and Kuslug's the man responsible for one of the very interesting things that Stellaton are getting up to. They are heading off to Land's End to Johnny Groats. They were due to go up a mountain, and they're going to go right in Italy, in fact, but not happening. And the gang are doing Land's End to Johnny Groats in 7 days. Good luck, guys. I'll be thinking of you at the weekend. No, I'll be thinking about how much you all are doing such a distance, but we know Kuslug's one of the regulars supporting AD Dench and the Stellaton key supporters of the Donny Chaingang. Now, Carl Johnson again with issues just down to 0 watts per kilograms, and that is not a good sign at this stage in the game if Carl's going to be getting tech issues. So it looks like power keeps been on crashing. He's on Carl's kit at the moment, so needs to get that dialed in. It is often an issue if your power drops out. Now let's have a little look. The guys pushing on here at the front, just riding in with Russ at the minute. And if we take a little bit of a look down, I think a little bits of a gap starting to open up between the riders. But you can see the hills in the background. Great place to ride in the group, just reforming. And that looks like Russ with tech issues here as well. So Russ currently dropping back a little bit here due to Tech Issues now, if it jumps back in again, or is he waiting for our red beacon? It's be interesting to see how he gets that pack back together. And at the moment, the front of the group a little bit all over the place. So still riding in with Kuslux as they come up this slope. Kuslux from the start on running in with that red beacon group. So we're going to pick on a few of the riders who we know can be in at the finish, one of which is going to be this man, John Wild, a rider that we know is very, very quick. Velo viewer, of course, one of our key supporters and helpers on the Chaingang, and Ben and John very, very fast. Anna, of course, very quick as well, and great to see that out riding real life and here on the Chaingang as well. John, one of the fastest riders, despite not being the youngest rider in the peloton. So keep an eye on that grey, orange and white camo kit, because that's definitely one of the riders you've got to watch out for as we make our way down here. Good to see that we've got Gareth Mason back in, although this isn't fat cyclist territory normally. Harley Hobbs is back with us as well. So just going to just keep a track of Harley. Harley here, again, another of our fast riders on that specialised bike, that lightweight frame. And good to see Harley back in the Chaingang again. This front group just ticking along, just trying to keep the watts down. They're not going too mad at the moment, they are just ticking along. However, we are seeing a number of riders struggling with the pace, and it's not going to be long before we're heading down in towards the cobbles and in towards the climb. So it's like Caroline Mansfield's back with us. Good to have Caroline. Gritty, of course, one of our key supporters on Chaingang. Caroline just in the orange and white with black. And Gritty, of course, one of our key supporters, and Donny Chaingang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the way that we keep the show on the road, supported by Caroline, by Neil and all of the gang at Gritty. And good to see Caroline back on the Chaingang once again. Let's see how she goes up here. Of course, I think Caroline knows well. I think we've done quite a lot of the rides when Caroline's been on, have been actually on the this particular course. So just keeping an eye on what everyone's up to. Looks like Andy Hawes at the moment with issues just off the back of the group here, and looks like Jess Saysel in trouble, Carl Johnson in trouble, a few people with tech issues. Dan Coleman just up the road here, and Dan, I think, just starting to drop off the group. You can just see the yellow beacon up in front, the red beacon as well. Now Dan, one of our fast riders, I suspect will be waiting for people behind. If we pull up on the screen, you see Andy Hall's currently at 13 seconds. You see Mr. Richardson just easing off on the pedal stroke back. So Halsey currently at 12 seconds, putting out 2.9 watts per kilo. Looks like Saysel again with tech issues, Carl Johnson with tech issues. So quite a number of people having problems on the way around. Just riding in the back of the group with Stevens here. Stevens sat making the most of the draft, and as Russ is saying, time to take it easy on the climb, because these riders know that there is still plenty of time left. The distance continues to tick on, and it's going to be interesting to see who is going to save the energy for that final climb. It's a big climb up the mountain here, and the route we've actually used the little circuit that's used as a warm-up regularly on the Tuesdays as a hilly circuit, such as the climbing out here. Now just seeing Andy Hawes, I think, has just managed to make his way back in with the gang. Yep, Andy just up ahead. Looks like most of the riders getting back in with that group. So Jeff Saysel getting in the pack. It looks like Andy Hall's managing to do so. Looks like Paul Simonite in this pack here. So Paul riding strongly already. Just keeping an eye on the rest of the riders around them. Just think I've seen Neil Mansfield's avatar. It's quite sad I can recognise people by their avatars. I'm going to double check that, but it certainly looks like it is. Russell Osborne in the group, the best dressed man in cycling. Nick Dorsey in the pack as well. So just going to take a check. Likely to be in the ruler kit. Indeed, there he is in the grey. Just riding on that orange and white frame, just hovering round about the beacon at the moment. It certainly looks to me like Dorsey riding well in with the main pack. If we pull up the stats, I think the heart rate is going to be wrong. If Nick Dorsey is doing 240 beats per minute, that is going to be absolutely mental. So I suspect that is a little on the wrong side at the moment. So just taking a look as we go around this turn. Mr. Langmead is in here, and this is where the gaps really do open up. You can just see everybody accelerating away as they go off over the top. Andy Verrill's back with us. Can see Andy's in here. I've not seen Andy on the ride for a little while. Let's jump in with Andy. So Andy Verrill, of course, one of the key supporters of cycle sport here and on the continent, and Andy back in the chain gang as well. Well, it's definitely very quickly strung out as we've gone up over the top. And I think the group may well need a little bit of instruction here from Russ of some numbers, because it looks to me like the gaps have opened up, and you just see at the front here the guys doing 1 watt per kilo, 1.5 watt per kilo. Nobody's smashing massive numbers here at the front, but the nature of this course is that it has a habit of stringing out at the front. So the gang just rolling, trying to get it all back together again. If the front works well with the back and they all come back together again, then we generally will find that that is the way the ride will be the quickest, by everybody working at the same pace. Now, just taking a look, it looks like Carl Johnson with definite problems out the back, and so we're just jumping in with the Stelaton riders, with Kuslugs and with Morn, and the two riders in the gaps here. So they're going to be a regroup up at the front. The guys in the red beacon are going to be leaving Carl behind, so I think Carl on his solo ride today, which is unfortunate for Carl. That is all about having tech issues. If it yo-yos up and down, that does make life very difficult indeed. It's about 4 seconds in front of these two riders. You can just see the tail end of the main group. I think a number of riders just rolling off the back of the main pack with a view to sprint in and through. This is the first time we're going to come through this sprint line, and seeing Kieran going from the back to the front, and pretty much everybody all together. So Kieran Brown actually was a long way off the back of that group, going through towards the front there. That's a very fast time, an 18.65. Harley Hobson, Caroline Mansfield's more what we would expect from the group at the moment, in that 25 to 30 second bracket. You can see Isaac Oliver's back in with us, Sean Ferran as well. So the Red Beacon duo just starting to close down. The Stelaton more than capable of picking people up on the way through, and I think the rider just in front, if we take a little look back, yep, from Rich Orrell, it's going to be Rich, the next rider, who's going to get swept up by the Stelaton Red Bus. I wonder if they're giving out free water bottles on the way through. We'll see. Talking about giving away water bottles, we've got lots of great prizes coming your way, because it isn't long now to the start of the Tour de France. So the Tour starting this weekend. We are really looking forward to 3 weeks of the Tour. There are going to be 6 special stages of the Tour. 6 stages of the Tour. There's going to be lots of details coming out of the weekend about to our members about how they need to be in, what they need to do to make sure that they join. Getting in early will be critical. We have got 6 stages over 3 weeks replicating the Tour, And I know there's been a lot of speculation amongst the non-members who don't get that advanced information about what's going to happen. However, I think it is going to be a really exciting 3 weeks now for every member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang, who finishes all 6 stages and posts a picture of them finishing the stage up on Facebook. Then we will be giving away prizes. We are going to have, for our members, coffee coming out to every single member who finishes in the chain gang finishes all 6 stages of the tour over the 3 weeks on the Donny Chaingang. Every single member who manages to do so, we're going to have coffee coming the way, water bottles coming the way, we're going to have stickers coming the way. We've got loads of great stuff heading in the direction of our members. We've got some great prizes coming from Grand Tour Coffee, and if, like me, you spend the last few days living off the stuff, then you'll know just how good it is. Now, a few riders who could do with a quick espresso. Well, the guys at the back is definitely not that, because they are absolutely motoring to get the Red Beacon group back in with the pack here. We're seeing 4.5, 5 watts per kilo from the Beacon group here as they work together to get back in with the pack. Once Carl again with another dropout, just let them know he's not going to be able to get back on again. You can see the work being done at the back here. Mon currently sat in with this group, and look how many riders they've picked up. They've got Genther in here. Looks to me like Andy Scollin has been picked up by this group, so you can just see the Red Beacon group collecting riders on the way through, and this is a very fast moving train now as they head towards the back of the main pack. And I think we're going to find that for the very first time, it's only taking us a lap, we're going to have everybody but Carl all together again. So the junction almost made on these riders. You can just see them picking up the back of the pack, and that is brilliant to hear. Fantastic stuff. Look at that, everybody back in apart from Carl Johnson. Brilliant stuff, guys. That is a fantastic bit of work, gang, and really shows you what the Donny Chaingang is good for. It is good at bringing everyone together. That's why we put it on. So we have got some great riding to come and some great riders on the gang. Thank you everybody who takes part in the chain gang, whether you're a member, whether you're able to be a member and support us or not. We really do appreciate everybody riding. We are always busy. We always try and make sure our members get priority to the DCG gang, the supporters club, because they're the guys who keep the show on the road for everybody, and without them we just couldn't make it happen. Russ and I are busy making sure that we got lots going on. Remember, guys, if you are going to be taking part in the tour on the Donny Chaingang, you need to be a member for June. You need to be a member for July, because you will be getting the links there if you are a member for June and July, and you post your pictures of you going across the line. We want to see a picture of your avatar. A ride report is not good enough. It needs to be a picture of your avatar. Then, once you've done that, we will be looking for you to get prizes. We're going to be giving away special prizes for our riders every week, as well as every single rider who finishes all 6 stages puts up their pictures of their avatars at the finish of each of the stages on Facebook. Everyone who does that will get coffee, and they will get stickers, and they will get a water bottle from the Donny Chaingang as a reward for finishing the tour. And speaking of the tour, yet more stuff to tell you about the tour, because of course we have riders riding the Donny Chaingang who are on the Tour de France as well. Regular Connor Swift, I'm sure everybody's picked up. The Arkea Samsic rider is going to be riding, and of course Connor is going to be one of our key riders on the Tour de France. We've also got Fred Wright. Now, Fred, a regular from the very start of the tour, and a regular rider on the Donny Chaingang. He's been with us pretty much since the start of the Donny Chaingang, and looks to me like with 2 riders in the Tour de France, it's going to be great watching exactly how they get on once the tour's coverage starts. Don't forget, of course, make sure you're a member of the DCG gang, Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, for June and July if you want to be one of those riders getting those prizes. Now, with the gang pretty much all back together again, I do say pretty much all back together again, because it is a little bit mad out there at the moment. You can just see that our yellow and red beacons, again, just being distanced, and the red's actually spending a lot of time helping Russ out tonight, bringing Russ back on. I know Russ with a couple of tech issues on the run into the show, as well as, of course, making sure, testing out lots of new equipment as well. Russ doing a lot of the R&D work with a lot of the companies, not just with Swift, but also with people like Wahoo and so on. It does mean that you often find he's testing and trialling things out. Just watching Neil Mansfield from the Crosscast, my co-host on the Crosscast, and of course another of the Gritty team who are here and riding. Of course, the Donny Chaingang helping Neil to be a little bit quicker these days, because Neil out riding and racing got a second and has been super fast on the cross. So the gang working well at the moment. A couple more laps to go. The Stellas have been opened on the bus at the back. The Stellaton, named after their favourite tipple, and Mon and gang all ready, making sure that everybody is fueled up. So just jumping in with Russ at the moment, and as night falls in Innsbruck in the world of Zwift, the riders continue to push around this, the second of the laps around the Innsbruck ring circuit. It has the leg snapper climb that comes up after the cobbles and the bridge crossings. That is the one that really does test out the riders, and it's when you need to be in the bunch near to the yellow beacon, particularly as you come over the crest of the climb. If you're off the front opening gaps, then you're going to break the chain gang apart. If you're at the back and not on the wheels, then you're going to have one heck of a chase to get back into the wheels and close those gaps down. So Russ firmly ensconced in the main pack, the red beacon sweeping behind you. You can just see those gaps opening up once again. If you let the wheels go, it's very easy for them to open, particularly when we've got smaller numbers. When we had 200, 300, 400 plus riders on the chain gang over the winter, what you were finding is that it was easier to stay in that gang. You were getting more assistance, more help on the way through. If you were dropping off the back, there was always more riders around you to help bring you back in. With the lower numbers, sub 100 as we run through the summer, it makes it harder because you haven't got that same level of draft support, that same level of assistance as you make your way through. So it looks like Jim Flynn is in danger of bailing here, so Jim may well be diving off the bike here. It's don't think he's heading back to the bus. I think he's jumping off. A number of people, of course, busy tonight. There is one or two other sporting events on, and don't forget loads of cycling coming up. Really looking forward to heading out to Otley, when I'm going to be on the mic at Otley. That's going to be next Wednesday. Actually on the mic this Wednesday as well at Mallory Park this Wednesday. They're going to be on the mic, of course, on the Donny Chaingang on Thursday. We have Otley next Wednesday. The National Mountain Bike Cross Country Series goes to Monmouth, and entries for that close this weekend. So if you're thinking of riding the next round number 2 of the National Mountain Bike in Monmouth on that brand new course, which is looking absolutely amazing. I'm sure plenty of people have seen the video of Nick Craig riding round. They've actually added another technical feature as well. Then don't forget, of course, the entries close very shortly. You need to be in it to win it, as the saying goes, so make sure you get your entries in for that. Looking forward to being at Rydale, and really pleased to be back in Rydale, a race that I've worked on when it first started as part of the National Championships, and have had several residencies in the grounds of the hall there. The HQ, of course, now at Ampleforth Abbey, and school. We're really looking forward to being in action there, and I'm looking forward to putting words to the action as part of the team with the Yorkshire squad there as well. Unable to be on the mic for the second of the National Crit Series. That is Ilkley, because unfortunately that date clashes with the National Mountain Bike Championships, which is going to be down in Plymouth, and already contracted for that as well. So can't be in two places at once. Have actually done it before, where we go from one event on the Friday night to the mountain bike on the Saturday. However, Ilkley down to Plymouth is not going to happen, and particularly with it being a new organiser, a new course down at Plymouth, definitely worth heading down to make sure we know exactly where that course is before the action kicks off for the National Championships on the Saturday. Also going to be on the mic, of course, for the rest of the National Mountain Bike Series, the National Cross Series. Hopefully be back on the mic for all of those, and they are interspersed, of course, with the National Road Champs at Lincoln. And if you haven't heard, the Road Championships going to Lincoln, I know there's going to be a strong presence of Donny Chaingang riders there as well. Now I'm going to be on the mic for 4 days of action. We've got the hill climbs, we've got the crits, we've got the sportive, and of course the men's and women's National Road Championships on the iconic Lincoln course. And looking forward to seeing Russ and lots of the gang over there as well. So Russ just climbing up with the back of the pack up over the top of the climb here, and the group now on the descent. And if we pop up the head up display, you will see absolutely loads of people disappearing off the front of the group. Let's take a little bit of a check of the numbers, the wonders of having the tech here. So mostly rolling around about the 2 watts per kilo, but what you find is as you go over the top and the descent starts, then any gaps are exaggerated, and any people who are struggling are pushed further back. Anybody who's not right on a wheel basically finds that gap opens right up on the crest as we drop into that downhill. So another regrouping is going to be called for as the riders run through. The gang here just about holding. Just going to take a look. Looks like Craig Genther and Jim Flynn both being distanced on the way around, and drop out, I think, for Craig. Just unless I've missed some of the message. Looks like Stone Morn in here. Looks like Mr. Cheeseman is here. This is the second of the Cheesemans as well. I think this is Stuart, and we've got Brad on as well. So it looks like the gang is just about starting to pull itself up together. So let's take a little look. Russ currently about 5 seconds up on the back of the pack. Let's take a little bit of a roll up the road. Plenty of 1.2s, 1.3s, 1.4 watts per kilo. And this is what happens when riders aren't with the yellow beacon as they go up over the crest of the hillside. So if you're in front of the beacon, what will happen is that you will pull the group apart, and then the rest of the group are left at chasing, as you can see here. Most of these riders knocking the watts per kilo down, but because they're not on the front with Russ, and they're off the front, you tend to find that's when the gaps will open. So it looks like Brad and Stu together here. You can see who's spent the more time on Zwift, I think, because the lightweight deep aero wheels here on Brad's bike, the standard zips. I think the lightweight comes on Stuart's bike here. Of course, if you're out riding in real life, as a weekend down in the mountain bike venues all around the east, around Twisted Oaks as well as Phoenix Bike Park, can testify. I was riding on my Halo wheels, and they were absolutely superb, with had some slightly different rubber from Schwalbe on there, and super sticky rubber front and back, and super grippy as we went around, which is brilliant. So the red beacon with Brad Stew, looks like Coos looks in there, Rich Orrell not all that far in front of them, looks like Sean Ferron just sitting at the back. Woodward is on the back of the gang here, looks like John Wild rolling in with Russ as well. One of the Crawleys in here. You see me making a phone call with it saying, make sure you change your name to R Itch Crawley or R Iron Crawley. It's one or the other. It's going to be Ryan or Rich, who knows? Maybe they're interchangeable. So riders well on the way round to complete the next lap. So the gang almost all back together again. Red Beacon group just grabbing a few more people on the way through there, and just keeping an eye on them as they head down through here. Looks like we're going to be up to about 5 riders with the Red Beacon group at the moment. So round Neil Morn of Stellaton, a man who dreams of water bottles pretty much every night. We have Rich Orrell, we've got Coos looks in here, Stu Cheeseman, Neil of course, and Brad Cheeseman in the group up the road. Looks like Harley Hobbs and Caroline Mansfield on tail end Charlie on the gown, but quickly moving back up through the group, and now I think it's going to be Paul Mallin down to the back of that pack. Let's jump in and keep an eye on this group. It's just about holding together, so two distinct groups on the road. Group 1, the main yellow beacon group. Group 2, the red beacon sweeper group. Now the distance ticking on 20.4k. The riders out and round circuit, taking the right hand turn at the roundabout, where in a little while they're going to be heading straight over the roundabout, and they're taking a left at the next one, which takes them up onto the King of the Mountains finish, the after party here in Innsbruck. So the riders now up onto the long bridge, this flyover that brings them up across over the rail lines, up across towards the other side of town, before dropping down in through the cobbles and back over the leg snapper. So it looks like everything just about together. Let's see if we can get hold of the one and only yellow beacon. That is Russ Downing, hopefully out on the course, and I think we've got everybody together enough to have a quick chat with Russ. Let's see how he's doing. Russ, how are you going on?
Oh, not bad.
Are the legs still working? I think there's been quite a lot of tech issues tonight for riders.
Oh yeah, I had bad legs, and then I was turning the volume up on the start line, so I got dropped. Then I realised I broke the wire on my boa, so I had to get off and change my shoe. So yeah, I've got a blue and red white right shoe and a white and black left one.
That sounds like a definite Instagram post coming up later on, that's for sure. Because you know, odd shoes. There's nothing wrong with odd shoes. Apparently, it's a sign of genius, so I'm told.
I remember Northwave, used to have odd shoes back in the day.
Yeah, that is going back. Odd shoes, nothing wrong with a pair of odd shoes, that's for sure. The gang just about holding together. It seems to be a little bit jumpy tonight on the front, and when you look at the numbers, it just seems to be the course more than people putting the pressure on the pedals.
I think it's just Gareth, stirring the pot in it, Mr. Fat Cyclist. He can't make the climb, so he thinks he'll just throw some grenades in the peloton and wind the boss up, and then probably just cry and take his funny shaped ball home.
Well, it usually happens when he gets the builders knocking on the door. That is part of the course, let's face it. But if people are throwing grenades, I haven't actually seen anybody post anything about power meters so far, or about turbo trainer difficulty, which is always the one which gives the best distraction and or causes everybody to fall out on the Chaingang.
Trainer difficulty is hard because I've got used to that Wahoo kicker bike and it's smooth as silk, and then now I'm back on my bike on the kicker V5 and it's making a right racket.
It's totally different, isn't it? And I think that's what people need to remember, is that when you jump from one turbo, whether it's a wheel onto a direct drive to a better direct drive through to the bikes, there is a big difference in how it feels and how it rides. It takes time to get used to that and to get the most out of it.
Yeah, not dissing Pinarello, the F12 here, but I do feel like I'm riding a shopping bike now, like.
Well, it's the advantage if you're building a bike that's not going to go anywhere, doesn't actually have to go uphill. You can make it incredibly strong and rigid and get as much power out through that power meter as possible. It does make a huge difference, and that's why there can be such big differences between riders. And we see such discrepancies because if you've got a great setup for Zwift, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm clunking and clacking here, and people are riding off at 4 watts per kilo, so I don't know what's happening here, but, let them be, innit?
Well, do you know what? I better let you get back to it because you're just about to hit leg snapper, Russ, so enjoy.
Well, enjoy your leg snapper, cheers, yeah, love that.
Gotta love it when you're on the bike and you're not suffering, believe me. I did my suffering at the weekend. We'll catch up with Russ after the climb, and he's well in action. You're just seeing Russ on the scent at the moment. So So Russ onto the ascent, and looks like it's all holding pretty much together in this group. Just take a little bit of an aerial shot here from the helicopter, and not too many people strung out. That red beacon group just starting to be distanced a little bit. So just dropping to the back of the pack, and I think Mr. Coleman is here. Cannon is just sitting on the back here. So Russ asking who's pushing 4 watts per kilo. Really easy. Luke Stone, Matt Pritchard, named and shamed 4 watts per kilo, guys. Seriously. Let's drop back to the fun parts of this. It is going to be Rich Oral, Coo Slugs. Looks like a morning here. Brad working hard here. Come on, Brad, keep those pedals moving. So it looks like the front piling back off the pace now. Most of the runners at the front drop into sub 2 watts per kilo to let the rest of the group come back together again. Meanwhile, the pack all strung out as they head out of town. You can just see the yellow beacon group coming up towards the green banner with riders scattered quite a long way around. So let's take a look. In just ahead of Russ here with John Wild. Russ is speaking in here. Looks like Wallace and the gang about 1 second, 2 seconds up the road. So let's keep a little bit of a look. Looks like pretty much everybody together. So the group reforming. The pack just about coming back together again. Let's have a little bit of a run back down to see Kieran just working his way, dropping off the back to be able to sprint back in and through. But the group at the back, people like Mr. Main and Charles, now with some work to do to get back into the main pack. It's like Alistair Cootie, Colin Bell and Caroline Mansfield, so Beaver from Cycleways, and Mansfield of course from Gritty, just ahead of Mr. Kerrigan. So Ken Kerrigan with Cannon with him. Then it's going to be a drop back about 50 seconds or so. Now it's like Mr. Cheeseman ahead of Oral. Then it's going to be Coo Slugs, Morn and Brad Cheeseman, the Red Beacon group behind. Just watching Woodward just ahead of Cootie, Colin and a gang with the main group just ahead of Tim Baggs here. I suspect it's likely to be around where Andy Verrill is. Andy in the black just being chased here by Paul Whitelaw in the orange. So Paul just stretching his legs up from the back, just dragging some riders back into the main pack here. Neil from the crosscast just pushing his way back in at 7 watts per kilo, then wanging the brakes on pretty much here down to 1.9 watts per kilo, then 3, just feathering those pedals just to make sure he sits on the wheel of Russ here. So looks like trying to get the pack back together again. Always a tricky circuit to control when we're on the Innsbruck ring part of the circuit, because that leg snapper and the sawtooth profile afterwards generally does string things out. Now the back of the main pack is with Harley Hobson, Greg Pillsworth, Tim Baggs and Stevens, Main, Charles currently at 8 seconds down. 9 seconds behind him is Woodward, Cootie. Then it's a further 7 seconds back to Kerrigan, Bell, Mansfield. Looks like Cannon is currently at 4 seconds behind them. Then it's going to be Cheeseman being followed by that pack of riders. You can just see hovering around that red beacon of Neil Moore. So it looks like 3 main groups trying to close down on that yellow beacon group. And there's still plenty of time to stretch your legs if you're up front, because that climbing is going to come soon enough. as you expect now, won't be there and available when you go onto the climb. So at least what you do now, the better. So Brad, the red beacon Neil, along with Acoustics and Mitchell, just coming around that top turn. 26 seconds up front is going to be Stuart Cheeseman, then it's going to be Cannon. In front of them, Mansfield, Kerrigan and Bell. 3 seconds up the road is going to be Cootie, then it's going to be Woodward. And then it's going to be a little bit of a stretch to this chasing group who are working hard. They've got the group in front now moving up to 3 watts per kilo. So Stevens, Main, Childs, Langmead, Baggs have got some work to do to close down on the wheels of Andy Verrill. Verrill just about hanging on to the back, but I think these legs have just gone pop. Let's take a quick check here. Yeah, it looks like Andy Verrill at heart rate 128, just being distanced by Harley Hobbs. If you look back from Harley Hobbs, you can see Verrill is in trouble, and Harley just sat at the back of this pack, making sure she gets maximum draft effect. So remember, the Donny Chaingang here on Zwift, coming out live on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. Bring you all of the action out on the roads of Zwift here in Innsbruck Ring. Our riders making the way round circuit, just riding in with Isaac Oliver, one of our younger riders and under 14s. We always try and remind our riders who are on that Facebook group page, which has got well over 2,500 members now. Please guys, remember there are lots of riders of different ages on there. If you wouldn't be happy for your mum, your dad, your sister, your son, your daughter, your granddaughter, your grandson to be looking at it, please don't post it. It is really simple. Please guys, don't put it on the Facebook page. Just keep it positive, keep it encouraging, and remember, it's all about making sure we keep bums on seats, make sure we give everybody a ride that's going to test them to look forward to as we continue on now. You can just see everybody feeling the pressure. So it looks like Gareth Mason offering over his builder's number as a panic button for Russ on the Zwift. Don't blame him. So just rolling with this main pack, so looking good at the moment. Kieran Brown in here, definitely a man to watch out for as we go up the climb. So that group with Charles, we're at 8 seconds. It is going to be 20 seconds now, the gap to the main bunch. The screen just doing a little bit of jumping up. We're just going to have to be a little careful with our jumping across from rider to rider here, and that's quite simply because we're going across the joining the map as our riders go to the left of the roundabout. This time they'll be heading up onto the climb. This group are going to be able to see them in front. You can just see the yellow beacon has gone to the left of the roundabout. Our riders now starting to do the same, and as they come to this left hand side, the yellow beacon just starting to go up on to the climb towards the roundabout. And that group in front you can just see moving up on to the drag. Next roundabout they're going to take the first exit, and it'll take them up onto the climb proper as they come around this turn. Just jumping in with Garfoot in here, and this is where things get a little bit interesting with this group. You can just see everybody is queuing up around Russ. Nobody wants to expend too much energy at the moment. It's going to get very interesting very quickly, I'm sure. The riders look like they are fully aware of what is likely to happen and just what the implications are. Just Cecil sitting on the heels here of Downing. So Downing rolling around the front with John Wilde for company. Looks like Jeffrey's in here, Pritchard, Neil from the Crosscast in the group as well. But it's Downing who we're on at the moment. As we take a little bit of a look back from Rush, you can just see that group is breaking, it's fracturing slightly here. So we're on to the climb very shortly, currently just on that false flat, a little bit of a dip in towards the climb, and now the gradient is going to start to kick. And the go, go, go has gone. Here we go. This is when things get interesting. This is when everybody wants to put the pressure on. Just keeping an eye on Crawley here. Just moving his way up through the group. Just see in the black with the red band across the back, really pushing on towards the front of the group, trying to close down on Varty, who has got the gap at the front. So it's Varty up there, Crawley is there, then it's Brown, Say So, Neil from the Crosscast, Varty going again, really is trying to make this group pay now. Crawley goes over the top. You just see Simonite moves up, Whitelaw's in there, looks like Stone is in here. Neil again from the Crosscast. Rob Wimble putting in a great ride here. So is Rob Osborne. Looks like Tatchell Waller, a rider who has been very, very quiet so far. And notable by doing not too much so far, just sitting on the heels of this group as it starts to move up onto the climb. You can just see our yellow beacon Russ at the back of this pack. In front of him is going to be Neil from the Crosscast. Then it's Daryl Tatchell Waller on that Zwift Concept Z1 bike, aka the Tron bike, as they move up on to this section now. Tatchell Waller not wanting to let those gaps go too much. Meanwhile, on the front, you can just see that Crawley and Stone are pushing on now. Richardson Trek's Aaron Stone has been with us pretty much from the start. The chain gang's on and off, and Stone just sitting on the wheels. Crawley is who is leading this out. Now Crawley sits at 7 watts per kilo. Strung out behind is the group. Then it's Stone, then Whitelaw, then Wild. In 4, in 5 is Isaac Oliver. In 6, Kieran Brown. 7 is going to be Varty. 8, Luke Stone. 9 is Pritchard. 10, Daryl Tatchell Waller. 11 is Dan Coleman. 12, Simonite. 13, currently Russ. Moving over the top of a Russo, big group back there, but at the moment it's Crawley who's got a 2-second lead at the moment on Stone, who's chasing hard behind at 6 watts per kilo. This is a long, draggy climb. If the riders keep the pace on, keep that pressure rolling, then they are going to start to open those gaps on the rest of the riders. But looks like Whitelaw responding to this move here, trying to close down onto the wheels of Crawley. So it's Crawley in 1, Whitelaw now into 2, Stone in 3, it's Brown in 4, Wild in 5, Oliver in 6 at the moment. The young rider in the GB kick sitting in 6th position. So 3 riders on the front, 3 riders chasing, then a little bit of a gap back to Luke Stone. It's then going to be Varty, Tatchell Waller, Coleman, Pritchard, Booth, Jeffries, Simonite, Downing, Saysel, Neil from the Crosscast, Conley and Taylor. Then it's going to be Runnett, Massoon, Osborne, Martin, Wimble, Derby, Pillsworth, Pearson, Greenaway and Linley. So Donahue on the wheels, as is Richardson. Gibbons in here, but it really is stringing out at the front. The riders are piling the pressure on up at the front, and it's Crawley again leading this out. He's got the gap. He's got currently about 4 or 5 bike lengths, I think, as they come up this climb, and that should be enough to get the gap opened up. Let's take the drone camera out a little bit here as he goes on to this 9%, and as the gradient increases, Whitelaw pushing on to his heels. It's 11%. Using the power to power on here, but look at the pace of Stone coming up here. Stone is really motoring, and this group, I think, are just reforming a little bit here. Now Crawley's gone again, and he let everybody come back towards him, and then all of a sudden Crawley's putting another monster kick here. He's gone again, and he let them come towards him. He made them work, and then he's put another kick to stretch them out here. Looks like Whitelaw responding. Richardson tracks Aaron Stone, sitting currently at about 4.7 watts per kilo. Is very close behind, so it's Crawley in 1. It's Whitelaw in 2, closing the gap down. Brown in 3, Stone in 4, Oliver in 5, Wild in 6. It's Luke Stone in 7, Dan Coleman in 8, Pritchard in 9, Tashel Waller in 10, Varty 11, Booth 12, Simonites going to be 13. It's going to be Jeffries 14, Conley 15. It's going to be Russ in 16th, Neil in 17th position at the moment. Saysel in 18th, Bassoon 19th, Ruddit 20th, Taylor 21st, Derby 22nd, Osmond 23rd, Pearson 24th, and Purlsworth rounding out the top 25 riders as we move our way up further towards the front here. This group has been joined by Kieran Brown, so Brown not on the mountain bike today, and Brown has the Mellenstein lightweights in. Yep, he certainly has, and it certainly looks to me like he means business. If he's gone for the lightweights, he's pushed on here. Kieran riding well off-road and doing the same here on Zwift. So it's now Brown, Whitelaw and Crawley, with Aaron Stone being distanced a little bit as they come into town. So this is the leading threesome. It's Whitelaw in the orange. In the green and white is Kieran Brown. Then it's going to be Crawley sitting in the black with the red band across his back. These three riders have a gap on everybody else. You can see the chasers just coming out of the village here in pursuit of the riders in front, but we still have plenty of distance to go. Remember, good key marker is when we get alongside where the building sites is. The crane on the left hand side, you know it's going to kick and then level again as you come towards the top. It means that things are starting to get a little bit closer, but at the moment these three riders are riding well together. And now you just see, looks to me like Crawley has gone again. Crawley putting the pressure on here. So Crawley kicking it up to 9 watts per kilo, back down to 8. Who's he taking with him this time? He's taking Brown with him this time, and there's a 2-second gap back to Whitelaw. He's trying to respond at 7.3 watts per kilo. These riders at the front with 9 seconds to Oliver, 10 to Stone, 12 to Wild. But Crawley putting another dig in here, trying to distance Brown here, and Brown is chasing hard here, trying to bring that gap back down again. Whitelaw's further back. So it's Crawley, Brown, Whitelaw, the 1, 2, 3 at the moment as they climb out from town. Still plenty of distance left in this climb. You're not going to see that banner appear in the 3D map for a while now. They're about just over halfway up the climb as you come out from the village. So halfway up the climb, it's Crawley leading. It's Kieran Brown right on his wheels in second position. In third position, it's going to be a Whitelaw, and Whitelaw trying to recover here. I think he's currently at 5.1 watts per kilo, 150 beats per minute now. That is starting to drop back down for Whitelaw. Taking a look across at Kieran Brown, 190 beats per minute. Crawley 177 as they come up here. Crawley now with 2 seconds on Brown, so it's Crawley leading. In second place is going to be Kieran Brown. Third is Whitelaw. Fourth is Isaac Oliver, and Oliver is putting in a great ride here. So Ryan leads this out. Those 2 seconds on Brown are extending to 3 seconds now. This gap is continuing to open. It's now 7 seconds to Whitelaw. So Ryan Crawley leading out from Kieran Brown in second place. Paul Whitelaw in third. Isaac Oliver in fourth. Then it's John Wild in fifth. It's going to be Aaron Stone, I think, or is it Luke Stone behind? So it's Luke Stone who's moved up there. So Crawley in 1, Brown in 2, Whitelaw in 3, Oliver in 4, Wild in 5, Luke Stone in 6, Simonite in 7th, Pritchard in 8th, Varty in 9th, Tashel Waller in 10th, Booth in 11th, Jeffries in 12th, and Russ Downing at the moment currently sitting in 30th, just ahead of Dan Coleman. Look at Crawley. He's got 3 seconds, but he's just dropped down a little bit here in terms of watts per kilo as we come up this climb. So Kieran Brown with the fastest sprint time, an 18.65, set early on by riding from the back to the front of the group. Currently sits in second place at the moment, so it's Crawley in 1. Behind him then, for Sherwood Pines in 2, it's Kieran Brown in 3. 11 seconds down now is Whitelaw. 1 second behind him, it's the under 14 rider. It's Isaac Oliver. 10 seconds down on them then, it's going to be a Wild. So it's Crawley 1, Brown 2, Whitelaw 3, Oliver 4, Wild in 5. Stone is in 6th place. 7th is Simonite. 8, Pritchard here closing on Simonite. 9th is Tatchell Waller putting out some serious revs, 101 revs per minute. The gang on their way up here. Looks like Varsity riding well. Booth again doing a great ride here. 60 revs per minute though. This is a real power workout for him out of the saddle. Russ with 81 revs per minute, 150 beats per minute. So Russ was really pushing hard here. Neil from the Crosscastle. Neil's heart rate up at 167 beats per minute, holding 90 revs per minute. This definitely a workout for Neil. 10% gradient. Meanwhile, up the front of the ride, Crawley is onto that slightly easier section. He's at 7%. Behind him, Kieran Brown just coming out of that steeper section, but coming into the next steep section, you can just see it's Whitelaw. Now Whitelaw has got a little bit of a gap on Isaac Oliver as they come into this 10% section, but as we look back, you can see Oliver is coming behind him. He's got him down to 3 seconds. This youngster, this under 14 rider, Isaac Oliver, closing the gap down. He's got him in his sights. He can see what he wants to do. Look at that heart rate. That's a real heart rate. That's not a faulty one. This is a young rider really starting out in their career at 198 beats per minute. That's a serious heart rate to put out. There's a long way to go yet, but he's climbing well. It's about 3/4 of the way up the climb now is Oliver, and really is pushing on, as is Crawley. Look at Crawley go. He's back up at the 6 watts per kilo. Again, he's keeping the pressure on those pedals. 13 seconds back now to Kieran Brown. Then it's 16 back to Whitelaw. Only 3 seconds behind him is Oliver, and Oliver is holding this gap. Has he got anything left to keep pushing to go into a top 3 spot? We said at the start Wild was the man to watch out for. Currently sitting in 5th position and looking pretty strong here, and 62 revs per minute. Almost matching exactly the revs from Ryan Crawley here. Crawley sits back down, changes gear. We're at a 5% slope as we come up the climb here. Now coming in to the last 5th of the climb, last 20% of this climb. As it's going to come in, take the left turn, then the right turn past the building site and into that final stretch. It does level towards the top, and it's very easy to get caught out if somebody's on your wheels, but Crawley's not going to have any problems with that. There's absolutely nobody behind him. You need a telescope to see Kieran Brown, the nearest chaser behind. And Kieran in 2nd place. 3rd is Whitelaw, 15 seconds down on Brown. Oliver though, look at this, he's coming. It's like the theme from Jaws. That's what we need now. So Oliver chasing Whitelaw down to 1 second here. The youngster continues to push on 196 beats per minute. Phenomenal heart rate as he pushes on. Looks like to me like Whitelaw recovering here. The heart rate dropping to 146. Take a look at Kieran, still sitting just under that 190 mark, 186 beats per minute. Crawley 176. Now onto this steep little ramp. It's going to ease as he comes around the turn. 57 revs per minute. That is seriously low revs though. You've got to be careful he doesn't do too much strength work too soon. Meanwhile, Whitelaw has seen the danger coming from Oliver and he's responded to it. It's been a little bit of a push on from Whitelaw, but Oliver trying to close the gap down here behind him. Then it's Wild, Stone, Simonite, Pritchard, Booth, Tatchell, Waller, Jeffries, Downing, Varty, Runnit, Neil from the Crosscast on Runnit's wheel, as is Coleman. And just keep an eye on Saysel, Taylor, Massoon, Darby and Conley, all working hard. Tom Lindley on a great ride here today. This is of course Tom Lindley, always does well on. Now it's going to be Osman on his heels with Pearson, Martin Richardson a bit further back. Greenway's got Wimble on his heels. Dorsey's 25 seconds down with Vin Donahue trying to close that gap. I think Malin and Emsley are locked together ahead of Charles and Samuel. However, the man nearest to the top of the climb is the one and only Ryan Crawley from out of the saddle, coming up to that building site we talk about as it starts to level off now. 31 seconds clear, over half a minute clear. It's not going to be long before, if they were out on the real road, we start to see some cars going here. So it is going to be Oliver chasing Whitelaw for that battle for third and fourth place. It's pretty close between these two. If we take a little bit of a look back from Whitelaw, you can just see Oliver is coming. Oliver can see him in front. Wild is further back. He's got a relatively safe ride. Stone, though, definitely hasn't, because you can see behind him Simonite right on his heels. Pritchard again, another rider who can't relax, because behind him they're queuing up to have a go. That's Waller at 2 seconds behind, Booth at 6 seconds, Jeffries at 11 with Russ at 19 seconds down. But the man who is really continuing to push on and make this climb his today is going to be Ryan Crawley Out of the Saddle. A gradient easy now at 4%. Gantry showing up, that polka dot gantry for the top of the ride, top right hand corner. This man looking super smooth at the moment. It is Ryan Crawley. So sitting just under that 400 watts mark, and it's going to be Crawley who's going to lead over the top. Now continues to push and unofficially up near the minute mark here. Yep, there you go. 1 minute showing now to Sherwood Pines rider. And that's Kieran Brown, and he's got Whitelaw now starting to push behind. Whitelaw closing down. Whitelaw's opened the gap back up on Oliver, but Crawley is going to be the first rider home tonight up over the top of the King of the Mountains. It is going to be Ryan Crawley, who's putting a phenomenal ride here on the Donny Chaingang, kicking out the last of those watts per kilos, going up to nearly 9 once again, 9.8, 10 watts per kilos, and that push to the line. What's his time as he goes over the line? He comes in with a 16.19, a personal best time around the King of the Jersey on his way up there. Amazing ride by Crawley, who's going to very quickly be on to that descent on his way down. So well done to Ryan Crawley. Now we're going back to Kieran Brown. Brown has company. He's got Whitelaw shadowing him. You can hardly see him behind him. Here he comes now. Try and get a view over the top. It's going to be Whitelaw who's going to take that second place. He's not going to take top spot today because he kicks on now. It's too late to chase down Crawley, who's got the fastest time of the day on the climb. Kieran Brown is responding to this. Kieran's up at 9.6 watts per kilo, but Whitelaw now pushing 9 watts per kilo towards the line. He's going to keep continuing to extend that lead out. So it's Crawley in 1. Whitelaw is coming across the line in 2. So Whitelaw goes across the line in second place, about 58 seconds slower up that climb. Then it's going to be Kieran Brown chasing Whitelaw all the way to the line, currently at 17.24 up there. Isaac Oliver putting in a great ride. Well done to Isaac, coming in for a very fine 4th place. 5th place is going to be John Wild. So Mr. Crawley clearly had his ice cream, mate. You were definitely getting a flake in that one, that's for sure. Sprinkles and sauce on the top for Mr. Crawley as he goes kicking up over the top. Wonder Fuel of Legends, definitely the case, and also a commentator's secret weapon. Now John Wild on his way up here, another commentator's secret weapon, definitely Velo Viewer. The stats that are available on that are absolutely astounding, and got to say a big thank you to the guys at Velo Viewer. So it's Crawley in 1, Whitelaw in 2, Oliver in 4, behind Brown in 3. Then fantastic stuff with John Wild coming through. John is taking 5th place on the way up that climb. Behind then I think Luke Stone's going to be our next rider in. So Crawley with a 16.19, John Wild with an 18.22, sandwiched in between Whitelaw, Brown and Oliver. So Luke will be our next rider up to the top in 6th position. Behind him then it's going to be Paul Simonite. So Simonite, a very, very classy rider, continues to push towards that line. So it's going to be Stone in 6th with 18.52. Then it's going to be Simonite followed by Pritchard, but Pritchard has got Tatchell Waller. Tasha Waller is likely to sprint for the line. Simon Knight's doing the same at the moment. So Simon Knight comes through his time in 7th place in 19:07. We're dropping back down here to Pritchard, and if we go up above them, you can see Tasha Waller is hanging on here. The line is coming. Watch that top right side of your screen. It is Tasha Waller going to be able to roll him on line. Here he goes. He's put the sprint in here. He's going to go up into the next position. It's going to be an 8th place here. Tasha Waller has got the power on. He's opening it up towards the top of the climb, and he distances Pritchard, so it is going to be Tasha Waller inside the 20-minute mark, a second clear of Pritchard. Then it's going to be Booth coming through the line just ahead of Jeffrey. So Booth in 10, Jeffrey's in 11, both inside that 20-minute mark. Next rider up is going to be our beacon. It's going to be Russ down. Let's drop a thumbs up down and right on for Russ now. Russ has got Varty not all that far behind him, and Varty will continue to push on the pedals, but you can see Russ not easing. He's not going to get rolled on the line this time around, so Russ is going to be the next rider through the line. He's going to take 12th place here. So it's 12th place as it goes through for Russ. 13th is going to be Varty. Behind then it is going to be a Runnett. So Simon Runnett putting another good ride just ahead of Rob Taylor. Taylor has been known to get the power down, but I think it is going to be Varty, then Runnett. Now it's going to be Rob Taylor coming through line. Good ride by Rob. Neil from the crosscast, our next rider through just ahead of Jeff Saisel. So Neil in 15th place, Saisel 16th as they come over the line. Then it's going to be Derby. So Chris Darby, 11 seconds on Massoon from Army Cycling, 27 seconds on Linley, who's got Coleman for company, Osborne not too far behind, and Conley with him as well. So it's going to get really busy a little bit further back, but Darby is going to be our next rider to the line here. And I think it's going to be about 17th place here for Derby. Derby continues to push all the way in there. Just seen 6 watts per kilo from Derby as he goes up to the line to finish. Good ride by Chris. Then it's going to be Massoon. So Jim Massoon from Army Cycling, currently with 9 seconds on Coleman. Coleman's got Linley on his tail, so Massoon from Army Cycling is going to be our next finisher. Then behind is Coleman, who is trying to take this to the line at the moment. So Coleman's got the gap. Conley is coming. Let's see just who's going to get this. Is it going to be Coleman? Oh, he just gets that. Then it's going to be Conley behind. Then it's Lindley who's going to come through immediately in front of Osborne. Another good ride by Osborne. Then Martin. So Martin putting in a great ride here. So Simon Martin goes through just clear of Greg Pillsworth. Then it's going to be a Richardson. So Keith Richardson, another of our regulars, on the Chaingang. That's nice up there, keeping it all lightweight. Comes through just in front of Greenway. So James Greenway is going to be in front of Wimble, but it's Pearson, the next rider in through the line. So good riding by Jamie Pearson. Then it's going to be James Greenway. Then it's going to be a Rob Wimble. So Greenway goes through Wimble, chasing all the way to the line behind him. Shelley Charles, Paul Mullin, a little bit further back. So Wimble goes through the line there ahead of Shelley Charles, Paul Mullin and Tim Baggs, chasing hard. Sam Emsley in the mix here. We're going to let Russ get his breath back a little bit whilst we search for a suitable gap to jump across. I don't think Russ will mind waiting a little while to get his breath back. That was a pretty brutal climb up there. Shelley Charles, another good ride by Shelley. Being chased here by Manning, but it's going to be Charles who goes through the line. So Shelley Charles goes through. Then it's going to be Paul Malin. So Malin goes, oh, he's going to get popped here. Oh, he does as well. So Tim Baggs, sneaky move by Baggs there. Then Paul Malin. And good move by Baggs to pop him on the line. Sam Emsley comes through just ahead of Nick Dorsey. So Crawley's time of 16 and 19 clear at the front ahead of the riders, with Nick Dorsey coming through in a 23.48. Then it's going to be Vin Donahue crossing the line just ahead of Ball. Then Dick Samuel will be the next rider up. So Dick with the 3 seconds on Steve Hilbert, and you can't relax when Hilbert's around. He's going to be putting the pressure on his Steve. He's certainly working hard. I'm not sure he's going to have enough to catch Dick before the line, but it's going to get close here. You just see Dick Samuel just responding here as Hilbert comes through. So Dick Samuel comes through ahead of Steve Hilbert in the green. Then it's going to be Dr. D. So Dubash is here behind, though. Looks like Canham is putting in a big spurt here. So Canham's rolling Dr. D on the line. He's taking out the good Doctor. And it's Canham, then Dubash, then Gibbons coming through. Next up is going to be Harley Hobbs. So Hobbs on a fantastic ride here. It's going to be the first of our female riders in through the line. So we'll see what Harley's time is up on the climb. So Hobbs goes through and should take the Queen of the Mountains down 24.56, a very fast time up there. Behind then it's going to be Garfoot, Llewellyn, Hawes and Mason. Then a little bit of a gap between Scotland and Ferron, so we'll try and jump back to Russ at about that point. So it's Garfoot being chased here by Llewellyn. And you're going to have a little bit of a gap between Llewellyn and Horsey. So Horsey not too far from the line here. He's got a little bit of a gap behind him, so he's should be able to relax. But if I know Horsey, he'll try to put a sprint in from the line. Horsey looking pretty lean in the latest pictures of him out. What's just going to do going out that riding in the rain all the time. So another good ride by the Assos rider Andy Hawes on that Pinarello. Mason just ahead of Scotland. I think Chris Canham echoing a lot of people's thoughts. He hates that climb. I'm with you, mate. I don't think it's particularly pleasant. I actually prefer it going the other direction round. Slightly more kick rest, but still pretty long. And if you're exploring the routes, don't get, of course, Swift with a new feature. So when you go onto your routes, it gives you more information about each of the routes. It also tells you where you've done them, so you can go collect lots of different routes, keep it interesting. That's really handy if you're going out to collect badges and get as many points as possible. So Scotland on his way to the line, and Scotland is going to come through the next rider on the Donny Chaingang. And then we've got a little bit of gang behind, because I think Sean about a minute down on Scotland. So we'll go across to Russ as soon as Andy gets across the line. I'm sure Russ is feeling it. Hopefully his legs have calmed down a little bit. So Russ, how you doing, mate? Are you still in one piece?
Yeah, ticking over, mate. Just doing another K, round it up, 45k will do me.
Yeah, it's a brutal hill. That lots of people dislike that hill, but we always get big numbers when we go.
Yeah, everyone. That's like that, you know. Everyone likes a bit of a challenge, and I hated that hill. It's like steep, and then it's levels off, and you think you're all right, and then it goes steep again. It's like, oh, just knocks you totally out of your rhythm.
Definitely. Well, it's not my least favourite climb. We are actually going to be heading to my least favourite climb. I won't say what it is, but it is on the agenda coming up very, very shortly, and that's a big giveaway for those people who aren't members of the DCG gang, because the DCG gang members, they already have had for a week or so the stages of the Tour de France on the Donny Chaingang, and of course we've got Fred Wright and Connor Swift in the real Tour de France this year.
Yeah, you know, selections have just all been named this week, so yeah, all good. And you know, I spoke to Connor yesterday. He's all ready. He's out with the boys. He's going to be out this morning, but he didn't make it. But yeah, he's all ready. So, and then you know, Fred will. It's great. You know, we've got two supporters of the gang actually riding the real one, and pretty sweet.
It is, and both of them members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So great to have them supporting us, and we'll be supporting them in the Tour. And of course, we're going to be looking to see who gets those pictures up on the Facebook page for the Donny Chaingang on the Tour de France. We want to see pictures of you finishing each stage. We want to see those avatar pictures up on the Facebook page. And if any of the members of the DCG gang who are members for June and July finish all 6 stages, prizes going to be coming out to every one of those riders. And really looking forward to seeing just how many people actually manage to do that and to complete all 6 stages and be in a fit enough state to get a picture of their avatar beyond the line, which is the tricky thing at the end of a very hard climb. But it can be as far as you won't be on the line, so bit of a chance for recovery, and some special prizes coming from Grand Tour Coffee. And I think Ben, of course, another of our great supporters, just heading out to the Tour as well.
He's actually there. I think he went Saturday. So he's got all the prep work to do. So yeah, he's gone, and it's a four week trip. So we won't hear in from him till the tour's finished. But Grand Tour Coffee is supporting the 3-week DCD Tour de France. So yeah, it's all a good connection.
Yep, really good to see Ben out there, and don't forget to give him a follow in the Ineos team who are out and riding. And of course, don't forget, we will be bringing you the Donny Chaingang every Tuesday and Thursday with special Tour de France stages coming up over the 3 weeks. Now, Thursday, Russ, for those of us who've been maybe a little bit busy, where are we heading on Thursday this week?
I can't remember, mate.
I was relying on you. I think it's Two Bridges Loop, if I remember right.
Should be good fun, It's a good little rolling route round there. It's not flat, so maybe Gareth Mason won't show
up. You're giving him some stick tonight.
He's got broad enough shoulders to take it. If he starts dishing it out, he's got to be prepared to take it back, hasn't he?
Well, he hasn't. You're dead right. He's definitely got broad enough shoulders to cope with it. And going to be good to see whether he's on form, whether he's using his Saturday name or his weekday name as well.
Yeah, I get confused with all this malarkey. I say, what's my name? Russ Downing.
That's the way to be, right?
I'll send that one in. I am a little different on Facebook, but yeah.
Definitely. Well, good to chat, Russ. We're going to let you go get some OTE recovery down your neck, ready for Thursday, and I'm sure plenty of miles in between.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be back on the old Wahoo bike on Thursday. I think new gears or whatever are coming tomorrow. So yeah, get that set back up and see if it's any easier.
Well, we will see. Well, one rider who's back out and riding looks like Caroline Mansfield from Gritty, up over the top of the climb. Good to see Caroline out and riding. It's not going to be too long before we see our red beacon. I think Woodward just on his way in. So Russ, we'll catch up with you on Thursday, and I'm going to be bringing the rest of the riders home.
Cheers, mate. I'll catch you later.
Cheers, bud. So great to catch up with Russ, and just seeing Woodward come over the line there. Caroline coming through for Gritty, and of course don't forget Gritty with discounts for the riders in the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang. Just watching Ken Kerrigan on his way up. Excuse me, one man who's never going to get red bus driver duty because he's busy behind the wheel day in, day out. I think it's 30 years he's been driving the buses, if my Facebook stalking is to be believed, as we see the gang really pushing on. I think Rich Orrell has got a sight of the finish. He's realises there's a Stella at the other side of it, and Rich is pushing for the line next. I think he's going to come in ahead of Kooslugs. Kooslugs pushing hard with Kerrigan on his wheel for Chefrek. So it's going to be Kooslugs, then it's going to be Ken Kerrigan. They're going to come through with Cannon, and then it is going to be our one and only Neil from the Stellaton, the man who you should never let loose when it comes to getting a bottle in, unless it's a bar, because his ordering abilities are very questionable. But his abilities as Red Beacon in no doubt, and fantastic. Thank you everybody who volunteers as Red Beacon on the way round. It does make a huge difference to the riders being pulled out and round circuit. Now we're going to drop back from our Red Beacon to one of our young riders who's on his way up the climb here. Continues to keep the pace pushing. This is Brad Cheeseman. So Brad on his way up the climb. Let's take a quick look at Brad in action. Currently 80 revs per minute, 166 beats per minute, and 150 watts also. So Brad pushing up to the line. He's going to see that coming fairly shortly, but he's got a couple of kickers still to go where he is at the minute. So let's make sure we cover Brad all the way up to the line. Don't forget, we have lots more rides. We're here all the way through the year, and we are going to be bringing you all of the action on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. Lots more action to come, and don't forget, you need to be a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, in June and in July, and to take the pictures of your avatar as they have finished or gone over the line after each of the stages. If you do that, then guess what? We've got prizes coming out to you. There's going to be coffee, there's going to be stickers, there's going to be DCG Donny Chaingang water bottles coming your way, and we are planning on getting those out after the tour. We're going to see how many people actually managed to finish all 6 stages, and it's not going to be standard stuff. You have been warned. If you're not a member of the DCG gang, you don't have the heads up yet of where we're going. We're not going to tell you until nearer the time. One of the advantages of being a member of the DCG gang is that we send you all of the to give you a heads up. You are in front of anybody else when it comes to knowing what's happening, and the tour stages, there's some real crackers in there. Can't wait to see how that plays out from the very first stage right the way to the finish. So Brad well on his way up the climb. Let's keep an eye on that heart rate, 166, 165 beats per minute, still keeping that heart rate up near the top of his range, keeping those revs nice, 82 revs per minute, currently on the 8%, as you can see from the graphic top right hand side of the screen. Just got one more little kicker to go before it starts to ease to the top of the climb. And you've got to remember, the guys at the front, well, they get it all over done and dusted in around about the hour mark. The riders who are just starting to make their way in and onto the chain gang, well, they have it a little bit harder because they have a lot longer out there on the roads of Zwift, and that is where the riders are at the moment, and that's where Mr. Cheeseman is at the moment. And Brad climbing up here nicely, keeping it nice and smooth. The revs still rolling at that 80 revs per minute, and looking pretty smooth as it comes through this fantastic scenery in Innsbruck. So Brad working his way out from the trees, going to be coming up underneath the face of the mountain here. Plenty of people giving Brad ride-ons as he continues up the climb here, keeping it nice and smooth on his way up the climb. Good to see he is still working super smooth on his way through. So we're now up onto the steeper sections here, 9% kicking in, really biting into the legs. You can see that heart rate shot up and gone up to 172 here, but keeping those revs nice and smooth. Brad continues this push up the hillside. If we get the drone out and flying, you can see this young man really is on a tough part of the hillside here. It eases off again for a little while. There is one more kick as he goes up onto the top, but it's not going to be all that long before he sees the gantry coming. The building site in front of Brad, absolutely key. If you are pacing this, you come out from the village, you come out and away from the buildings, and up in front you can start to see the building site. You see the diggers and the cranes that are building the structures at the side of the road there, up alongside the old rail tracks here, and that is where you know that you haven't got too far to go before that gantry is going to come into view. And this, of course, the climb that many people have suffered up over the course of Zwift, and of course out at the World Championships, which is the reason it's included in the World of Zwift, with Innsbruck World featuring this climb. You can come in both directions. The alternative route, actually the other side I prefer, I must admit. There is the route, the Actation, I think it is called, which does both directions. So you do what is effectively a lap of the Innsbruck ring coming up over the climb this direction, do the Innsbruck ring, go back over the opposite direction as well, just to make life interesting. It's actually quite a nice way to get both climbs in both routes. If you want to see that, don't forget, when you log into Zwift, this fantastic platform that we use for the Donny Chaingang, the virtual world, then you can click onto the route when Innsbruck comes up. If you want to see what the worlds are, bottom right hand side when you log in, you'll see different worlds shown at different times, including of course the new Mezi world, which is all part of the Mercury Islands, and that in celebration of the Tokyo Olympics. And congratulations to everybody who has been selected for the Tokyo Olympics. Commiserations to those who were in the running but not selected this time around. Really looking forward to seeing our riders in action. I have the pleasure of knowing a lot, not most, but definitely a lot of them personally, and I've seen many of them grow up in the world of cycling. And I'm going to be looking forward to seeing just how things pan out for them at the Tokyo Olympics, and who knows, one day we might be seeing some of our more of our riders on the Donny Chaingang on there. Don't forget, we have the Tour de France coming up as well, with one and only Connor Swift and Fred Wright riding, both regulars on the Donny Chaingang. Both been great to have on board with us pretty much from the off, and it could be really interesting to see how they get on. Connor, of course, the more experienced of the two, and riding for Arkea Samsic, has got, I'm sure, something to prove this time around, and we'll be looking for some sneaky wins. He's in some great form, and that has definitely been a reward that he's got the Tour de France for that form, and I wouldn't put it past him to get a victory on the way through. So here we go, up into the final section of the climb comes Brad Cheeseman here. So Brad is going to come through the line, putting a little bit extra kick in as he goes over the line. 186 beats per minute, bringing that heart rate right up as he comes through the line. So great to see Brad come through the line, just heading now for the warm down. So until next time, from me, Matt Payne, here live in the studio for the Donny Chaingang. Have a great couple of days. I'll see you on Thursday with more action. I'll be putting words to all of the Donny Chaingang here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. From Russ, from myself, see you soon.